fully high tech, close to nature, just like very well done face, very well done construction, like future proof construction. And we can go into the details of like all those new material, all those new technology that can be used. Like we could explore like how the concept of clean hair is becoming the wash your hands of the 21st century. Right, 20th century we learned that we had to wash our hands. 21st century we learned that actually we need to have clean air, and controlling humidity and controlling the quality of the air actually
Right.
has so much impact into our health in
Yes.
those times of pandemic. We had COVID, we still have COVID, to be honest, when you look at it, and now we have the bird flu that might be coming. So who knows? And then many more as we get more interconnected. There's more people in the world. There's so much. It's such an important thing, but it's also I have a kid and I see you go to a nursery and they get sick all the time. Like, okay, can we put an air filter there? Because now we know with studies that they've done in Finland that actually that reduced the rate of being sick at least 4 times. It's a simple thing
Mm.
that now with the science we tend to know clean air is actually really important. So how can we build buildings, houses that integrate that as a core value,
Right.
where there is circulation, airflow constantly, but you still keep temperature at a comfortable level. Combine that with humidity at a comfortable level. And there's some interesting engineering research that is being done and can be done even more around that. The need to be close to nature, I think, is just a natural need for humans, but even more like I see with my little kid. Like, you suppose we're apes, right? Like, you see houses in the city and kids are like, oh, don't touch this, don't touch that. No, they are meant to be touching everything at their age. They are meant to be in the wild, in nature, picking up sticks, picking up rocks, seeing interesting things, touching, exploring, putting them out. That's what they're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
But because we are in a very unnatural environment, not saying that we should live out in the woods like hippies. I fucking don't want to do that. But we have to understand the way that we are wired and the way that we grow and like create environments that are very modern, very resilient, very high tech, but very in tune with what we are, the animal body that we are occupying at the time. So I kind of like see it as Wakanda, right? Very high tech, connected to
Yes.
nature and with a certain spiritual aspect of it.
Yes.
So that's the house aspect, like really like we need to innovate on the actual housing technology. Now the home is having your village around, right? Like having your friends, having other kids, other parents, like a community, like 5-10 minutes, like walking distance, your neighbors, like that feeling of belonging, of togetherness, like, and you know, for me would be having highly ambitious. There's this term that I love, is friendly ambitious nerds, right? I want friendly, ambitious nerds
Yeah.
around me. I want people that want to build, people that are open-minded, people that are doers, that are explorers, but they also like to play, like to be fun, like to be nerdy about it. So you usually find those people in cities, right? So how do you create a space that is still intimate, still in tune with ourselves, but still attract, the kind of crowd that I would like to be around? Is a question that I'm exploring personally, and maybe that becomes building a small enclave inside the city also. It
Yeah.
could be possible. Like, I've actually lived that in London. That's where a lot of my experience and desires and thinking started. Is like, we were in London, Tottenham Hale, and I was living next door to a friend and like also involved in crypto. But then at some point in our neighborhood there was at least 7 flats,
Nice.
right? Like I was renting one, my friends had one where like 2 or 3 friends were living, and then the building just next to us, there was one penthouse there, one penthouse on the other side, and then that building over there, and then there's maybe 2 or 3 others in that area surrounding. And then what that allows is that you can be in your house, in my house, but then hey, let me pop in. Let's have dinners weekly. It's actually started with that dinners, right?
Yes.
Dinners every Tuesdays, every Wednesdays. At some point, it was every Tuesdays every week, and then every Wednesdays. It's like it's open door. If you know somebody, you can come in, kind of, right? Bring your friends. And sometimes we are 5, sometimes we're 30,
Yes, I see.
and you are like musicians. Some of them very famous, festival organizers, lawyers, business people, blockchain people, just students, mathematicians, like burners, like all different types, but all very interesting. Like that melting pot and the conversation that came, such an interesting diversity, politic. Like I remember, you know, like I had this conversation with this American lawyer, and he was very much like classic. Let's say it was many years ago, so classical Republican, right? And we were talking about gun and Second Amendment, and at the time it was probably French, Caribbean, European, like against guns, which I might be in different opinion right now, um, but it was like we had a deep conversation. At the end, I was like, wow, you know, I might not necessarily agree with you, but I can see you have a point. Like you thought about it and you thought about it deeply, and
Mhm.
you have arguments, and it doesn't mean like, oh, you convinced me or something, but like, okay, I see your argument, I see your point, and I can concede that. And having that value where you can have people from many different walks of life and points of views being able to discuss, exchange ideas, build project together, and do all those things. That is the kind of environment that I thrive in, and I would love to recreate around me, right?
Yes, and you are hosting Crypto Mondays in Barcelona these days, and
Mm-hmm.
what's that been like? And being also active at events here in Lisbon. What's the difference between those dinners and what you experience in these more focused on those Web3 circles? What is missing? What are you still trying to nurture?
Actually, I'm thinking I'm gonna dial down on Crypto Mondays and maybe start again with the more private, personal dinners.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I don't remember if you came to one of ours in Lisbon, but in Lisbon, I used to run. I called it the non-fungible tarts. Right, every weekend in Sundays, door is open. You can come. I bake pies. I bake
Nice.
cakes. I have my barbecue on. Just bring something, and we have a good time. And it was a similar model as London, and it was great. Since then, I had a kid and I moved to Barcelona, so it's a bit more complicated. But I'm thinking of starting to organize it again now because I realize that's actually how you create community at first.
Yes,
That's how you
totally.
filter things, right? It's like you open the door and then you see who comes, and then over time you kind of like it starts to take a certain shape, and you can structure the space and the invitation in a certain way to attract the right kind of people. Like you could be like, hey, come have a glass of wine, or be like, no, actually I'm gonna have cacao, it's gonna be during the day, and there's gonna be cake, but like please don't bring alcohol. So you can give it different vibe and different flavors, depending on how you structure the space, and naturally you would tend to attract the right kind of people, I
Yes.
think. So I wanna I feel the call to go back to that, to more like less public facing, building community, because that takes a lot of energy and a lot of
Absolutely.
money, a lot of time, and I want to probably allocate that energy and that time, to to something probably more personal. At least that's how I feel right now.
Yeah, no, I respect this and I support you in this. There are places where we can open up, and be more
Mm-hmm.
public and be more like, okay, active and holding the space for greater
Mm-hmm.
community.
Mm-hmm.
And there are spaces and periods in life where it's about you. It's about you structuring your own, network, your own community, and that
Mm-hmm.
requires more private spaces, more protected spaces. Hosting people at home, it takes also quite courage, like, okay, people
Mm-hmm.
bring people that you don't know, maybe. How do you structure the spaces usually? Do you ask people to bring something with them so that the load of the financial load is not only on you? Yeah, how do you like structure the space, and how long usually people
You
stay?
have to make it fun for yourself. So
Yeah,
each person would do it very differently. Like I enjoy baking. I enjoy a barbecue, so that's what I did. I make it easy for myself.
right.
I have a quick and easy way to bake, but then sometimes I'm not the one baking. Sometimes I tell people what to do. I bake cakes because I want to eat cakes, so that in some
Right.
ways it's not like I'm doing it for other people. I'm doing it for myself, and I'm sharing it with other people. So it has to be a little bit like that. Otherwise, it's not sustainable, right?
Totally.
That's the first thing. And then you ask people to bring what you feel like you need. So, I ask people to bring kombucha and juice because, that's what I feel like drinking and sharing. And then some people cook food, some people go to the shop and bring stuff. We make sure there is enough and there is abundance, but frankly, for me, what I bring to the table is what I would like to consume at that time.
Totally.
Like, I love eating a good quality meat. I had a butcher in Lisbon that was excellent. I would go there, I would get the good stuff, I would prepare it, and it would be first for me, and then others and enjoy it. So I feel like in that way, and then the value that people brought me with, the energy and the time and the conversations was highly valuable. Otherwise, I wouldn't keep doing it.
Totally.
So you have to enjoy it.
Yeah. Tell me, switching gears a little bit, not really. Growing up in the Caribbean versus living, say, in
Hmm.
Paris and London, Lisbon, Barcelona, what is it that you're missing from your home and that you're bringing in culture?
The food.
Really? Oh, wow.
I am. Food from the Caribbean is the best. What do I miss from the Caribbean? It's a complicated question. There's lots of things that have, especially in Martinique, there's lots of social issues that I've seen from learning a lot about people and cultures, and then be able to see things from the outside. It's like, okay, I can see a lot of our issues around consumption, around compensating from a lack of self-determination, or from political and economical exploitation from this social class called Beke, which are literally the former slave owners, and marry between themselves so they stay white. Highly racist people that some of those families are the second or third richest families in France. We're talking like billionaires level, and they control the island.
I
They
see.
own most of the lands. They own most of the ports, most of the malls, and they just like squeeze everybody. And you can see that, and it's like it's been so ingrained in the culture that people don't understand how much it impacts them. Like people tend to consume rather than invest.
Oh, wow.
People looking for safety rather than entrepreneurship. People like by default you come with a new idea, they tell you it's not going to work, or they are not going to let you, which is partly true because those stories have happened where somebody steals your idea, somebody calls the bank and then you don't get a loan, or somebody calls your international supplier, suddenly they don't sell the stuff to you. Like those things have happened again and again and again. But in my mind, it's like, okay, they have sharks. We can get bigger sharks from the rest of the world, and we can still do things. So um, having explored the rest of the world and coming back home, you can see a lot of the work that still needs to be doing, but there seems to be the willingness and the energy, especially from the young now, because we all have the internet. We know it's bullshit,
Right.
and we know we shouldn't take it for what it is. So we want people want to change things. Um, what would I miss? Well, my blood family for sure, to be closer to me. The quality of life and the beauty is just stunning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from the volcano to the north, the black beaches to like the south with like very thin, almost white sand, all the different plants and nature and the colors and the flowers. It's just like stunningly beautiful. But um, the world is a big place also, and usually people from Martinique, they tend to do Paris, Martinique, Martinique, Paris, Paris, Martinique, Martinique, Paris. And I'm an explorer. I didn't want to do that. But
Okay.
now I want to do that more because, especially once you have a kid, you realize the power of your roots and
For
knowing,
sure.
being connected to where you come from. So that's why I'm connecting back to that a bit more right now.
Yeah, it's important for her to know, what is that beauty that she's coming from.
Yeah.
Okay, switching gears to, I noticed that you've been part of this group, your EU accelerationism in
Yeah.
X. What is that about? That group? I never asked anyone really. And what is your goals politically?
So I'm not deeply involved inside. I met some of the people